everybody, it's Dee Dee. I'm back again, and I'm here to talk about reading journals. So we are verging very quickly into the end of November, and this is a period where people are going and trying to figure out which journal they want to use, what systems they want to use in their journal, like what they want to track and all kinds of things like that. So I thought I would come on and just give a little breakdown of reading journals and some possibilities, and then show you some of my reading journals. So first of all, why do we want to keep a reading journal? Now, this is a question that has many answers. So some people just prefer to track on someplace like Goodreads or the Storygraph. Storygraph is really good. It breaks your reading down with, pie charts and stuff like that. But there are people like me who prefer to have a physical copy of their reading journal. You can also use your reading journal for not only just tracking stats and things like that, but you can also track your reading notes, the things that you noticed while you were reading, or you can write about the afterthoughts once the book is done. You can also use your reading journal as an extension or an extra connection once the book is finished. So let's go on now to talk about what to use to make a reading journal. You can use just about anything to make a reading journal. Now, it's true, if you go here on YouTube and you put in reading journal, you're going to get all kinds of videos on what you should be using or what everybody is using today or yesterday or whatever. But I just say go with what you want to go with. It does not have to be expensive. I'm going to give you some examples. So you could use a regular notebook like this. I live in France, so this is a regular notebook, Clairefontaine. Open it up. It's just like this. This is an A5 size. You can also do, like a big A4 notebook like this. A regular notebook can go a long way. This has 96 pages. Now, this is going to depend on what you're going to be tracking, and how many books you read a year will determine which size notebook you want to get. I usually read between 50 and 70 books a year. So I would need something like in the 300-page kind of thing, because I like to write notes with each book that I read. So this is a possibility. You also have something like this. This is just something that I picked up in a shop, but it's just a regular, journal. And this is a dotted one. Now, you could get dotted. You could get plain, with nothing on it. You can also get lined. So this is one, and this one is really good because the pages are numbered. So this one has 186 pages. So this was an inexpensive journal I picked up in a shop here. I think this might have cost me about maybe 10 euros or something like this. This cost me 2 euros. Now, you have other possibilities as well. I'm going to put some of the names of some of the journals that people purchase to do their reading journal. I'll put them here on the screen, and you can go and you can look. They're going to get up there because this reading journal situation is a business. People spend a lot of money on reading journals. You can even get reading journals that are already done. Everything is already done inside. All you have to do is either color it or fill it in. Those are possibilities as well. You can, I think the best thing to do is to Google that, and you'll find different journals, pre-done journals that are available. Now, I'm going to show you some of my past journals so you can get an idea. Okay, so I managed to find my 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2024. Now, the thing I'm going to say about journals is that when you start doing a journal in the beginning of the year, you have a lot of high expectations about what you want to do with your journal. And I guarantee you, if your expectations are very high, you gonna fail. Okay, so I'm gonna let you see a little bit of 2019. So this was a Leuchtturm. I think that's what that is. You can see it right there, Leuchtturm, written on the back in yellow, and I doctored mine up. So the Leuchtturm came, it just has white paper there, but I got this paper, this motif online. I got it on, I think it was on Pinterest, photocopied it, cut it out, and I pasted it to make like end pages. So did that. Then I was tracking all of my subscribers on YouTube, IG. There was another app, I think it was called Litzy. It's not there anymore, and Twitter. All right, and then of course you have in the beginning, you have usually your little content page, so you can put what is on what page. Now you see I started doing that, but look where I stopped, page 40. Just to let you know, it's not always great. So here, I don't think I filled it all in properly here, but usually people start their reading journals with reading goals. And that gives you a chance to kind of give yourself an idea of what you expect out of your reading for the year. Now, I know some people don't do this because it's not that necessary. You know, you can get along and not do that. You don't have to do that. But it is a possibility. I personally like making reading goals because it really encourages me to read more books. Okay. Then I have my little bookshelf. Now, this is a standard for me. I always have the bookshelf and I fill in the titles. Here, I ain't fill in all the titles. I ain't do all the work. So it looks half finished. And I'm showing you this just to let you know that it happens to the best of us. We have best intentions, but if we set the standard or the ideals too high for what we expect out of a reading journal, it's not going to happen. So here I did my stats, and I was tracking star ratings, like how many 5 stars, how many 4 stars, genre, release dates, author, gender. I was tracking also formats, just way too much stuff. New releases. Here I was tracking short story reads. And believe me, this is the only thing that I got right, because I think I only did 2. Because I don't really like reading short story collections that much. Then I have all of my reading challenges were there. And then I would go monthly. And in this one, the monthly was basically I did like a January, like a monthly page. And then I had the calendar, and I had like a little currently reading kind of page. And then here what I would do is on the currently reading page, which I like this system, which is to put each square counts for a day of reading. And in each square, I put the amount of pages that I read for the day. And then that way I knew how many days it took me to read the book. This one, I didn't do pages, I did chapters because it was a very long book. I like this system and I might go back to it because I think it's a really good one. And then I went to do like notes, but I did really short notes here. I didn't do very long ones, and some I didn't do at all. So that's to give you an idea of how that went. So that's the month of February. There's March, just so you can see. All right, so that was in 2019. Now let's go to 2021 and 2022. This is the Hipponoto journals, and I purchased these online. They came, I think, from Taiwan or something like that. They have Tomy River paper in them, which is gorgeous paper. But look how many pages I did not get through. But I'm taking this paper out. I'm going to use it. because I stopped. Let's see, where did I stop? I stopped. Oh, Jesus, where did I stop? I think it was the month of August, maybe. No, that's December. I stopped in December. So I went all the way through, but I didn't use all of the paper, which is not a problem. I can always use it, but it shows me that that year I probably didn't write nearly as much, or, you know, sometimes you overshoot how many pages you really need, that kind of thing. So that was 2021, and this is 2022. I took some of the pages out of this one because I had I think I had like almost a half. This one I finished. I didn't finish completely. I stopped in October. So that was terrible. I stopped in October, but I like the way this journal looks. It looks, I was still using the currently reading with the little squares. I really like the way this journal looks. It looks happy, and it's got lots of color. And in the beginning, I did a lot of tracking that was probably not that necessary. I did this, which I do this challenge every year, 20 books by Black women, the Read So Lit challenge, which I think I might be bringing back in February. Then we had the 2022 Something Bookish Reading Challenge, which I try to do this every year because it gets me to read books out of my comfort zone. Big book challenges I always do. This is, I think the last year I did 10 books, 10 decades, but I might bring that back. Although I don't think I have a problem reading in many different decades. Acquired books, I always like to keep that page because it keeps me on the straight and narrow. I didn't even bother to do the year at a glance. That's how lazy I was that year. I always do this, you know, so you get an idea. So that was with that journal. Okay, then we have my 2024 journal because I could not find one for 2023. And I think it's because I didn't do one. This one is 2024, and this was a cheap journal that I had bought in the shops. And look at this disaster. I started really well, and then I literally, look at that. I've got the pictures printed out and everything, and I stopped. I did not continue. This was a cheap journal that I bought. It cost me like €3 in a shop. The paper's not great, but, you know, if you were, you know, pressed for money and needed to get a cheap one, this one was not too bad. Now, the only thing was it doesn't work very well with my fountain pens because it was bleeding a lot through the paper. All right, so that shows you a little bit about the journals that I have done so far. Now, some of the things that you could need extra on top of your journal, you could need washi tape because, you know, that helps decorate. You could do stickers. I have these stickers that I bought from Temu. These are Black Girl Reading stickers, and then these are stickers as well about books. There's also stamps. You could get stamps. You know, these are like face stamps, so like you can put, you know, happy, sad, or whatever. You could use highlighters. Highlighters are always a necessity. You can use colored pencils. It's another way of adding color to your journal. You can use fountain pens. You can use pencil. You can use just about anything marker-wise. You can even use something like this, you know, to write with. You might also need Scotch tape. You never know, because you might need to add something that you forgot, like you need to add a whole page into your journal. That's possible as well. If you have that, I would suggest getting something like this. This is one that I bought when I was on holiday, and I bought it at Hema. This is like a stencil set. So it has a lot of different types of, arrows and squares and circles. This can help sometimes when you're trying to decorate your journal and you are not very good with drawing, or you're not really sure what to do. Stencil sets are a great way of, helping you with the decorating of your journal. Now, these are some of the things I can think of. I can't really think of anything else. Now, I say these are possibilities, but they're not necessities. Okay? They're possibilities. So, necessity for me is a pen or a pencil. That for me, that's the necessity. The rest is extra. If you want to go to Mile, you've got a regular notebook and you want to make it look good, you want to add a few things, then, get yourself some stickers, get yourself a stencil set, get yourself some highlighters, get what you need if you want to make it look, a certain way. But I think all you really need is a pen and a pencil. Maybe even one highlighter if you really need one, but you don't really need one. So those are what you need when it comes to supplies. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you a little bit of what my journal of 2025 is looking like now. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to show you everything. I'm just going to give you a quick look, but you'll have to come back at the end of December or beginning of January, and I'll show you the whole thing from cover to cover. So this is what it looks like. This is my 2025 reading journal. Now, this journal is an Odyssey journal, which I bought in the States. So since we got all them damn tariffs, I could not get another Odyssey this year. So I'm still looking for my solution. I haven't found it yet. So what I did was I covered the journal with some Pip-Bound paper, and I added this in the sticker. So as you can see here, I have my beginning, my bookcase with the books all filled in. They're mostly filled in. And I have my reading goals. Okay, so that, of course, I start like that. And I add in little pictures every now and then because I think that adds character to the journal. I've got my index going, but you see I've only got my index to page 76, and there's clearly a lot of pages in here. I've got a lot of, big things in the beginning, like this is my daily reading challenge, how many pages I read. So I have the green is less than 50 pages. The blue is 50 to 100 pages, and the pink is 100 plus pages. Now, I haven't been filling them in since June, and we are already in November. Luckily, I have Bookly app, so all I have to do is go back to my Bookly app, and I can figure that out. All right, then I have my book recommendations. I have a few more to fill in here. Book acquisitions. I have a few more to fill out here too. But I have read some, so that's a good thing. Series. These are some of the series that I've been working on. My big books. I've got my classics, my reading my shelf. And you'll have to come back. Like I said, probably beginning of January, I will be completely done filling everything out. And I will do a very lengthy flip through so you can see how much better my journal looks. Like, have I managed to fill everything out or not? And how many pages have I used? Because as of now, we're mid-November. This is where I am. This is where I am. And that is, let's see, page 207. And this journal has 496 pages. Will I get to the end? I really don't think so. But I think I'm going to do better than previous years. So stay tuned for that. So that's all I have for you today. This is just a little reminder, that everybody is looking for their perfect reading journal. And people are already starting to set up their new journals. Now, when I figure out what I'm using, I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to be using and how I've set it up. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Comment below and tell me, what journal are you going to be using for your reading journal, if you're going to be using one? And why did you choose that one? And how many pages is in your journal? And what kinds of things do you like to track? Let's have a chat below. Bye-bye.